1. Increase. There was a significant increase in online shopping in 2020. 2020 saw a significant increase in online shopping. Online shopping experienced a significant increase in 2020. Online shopping witnessed a significant increase in 2020. There was a sharp decline in unemployment rates after 2015. The period after 2015 saw a sharp decline in unemployment rates. Unemployment rates experienced a sharp decline after 2015. Unemployment rates witnessed a sharp decline after 2015. 3. Slight change. There was a slight rise in the number of tourists in 2018. 2018 saw a slight rise in the number of tourists. The number of tourists experienced a slight rise in 2018. 4. Fluctuation. There was a noticeable fluctuation in fuel prices between 2010 and 2015. The period from 2010 to 2015 saw a noticeable fluctuation in fuel prices. Fuel prices experienced a noticeable fluctuation between 2010 and 2015. 5. Stability. There was little change in car ownership over the period. The period saw little change in car ownership. Car ownership experienced a little change over the period. 6. Peak. There was a peak in smartphone sales in 2021. 2021 saw a peak in smartphone sales. Smartphone sales experienced a peak in 2021. 7. Drop after peak. There was a gradual fall in house prices after 2008. The years following 2008 saw a gradual fall in house prices. House prices experienced a gradual fall after 2008. Stood at. To state a figure at a particular point in time. The unemployment rate stood at 6% in 2019. In 2010, the population of the city stood at around 2 million. The average monthly rent stood at $800 at the end of the period. By 2020, smartphone ownership stood at nearly 90%. Accounted for, to express a proportion, percentage. In 2015, private cars accounted for around 45% of total transport use. Coal accounted for the largest share of energy consumption in 2000. Female students accounted for just over half of the total population. In 2022, online sales accounted for approximately 1/3 of total revenue. Comparisons. Computer sales increased slightly from 52 million to 70 million units between 2009 and 2010. Computer sales increased slightly from 52 million units in 2010 to 70 million the following year. Computer sales increased by 8 million units from 2009 to 2010. Between 1990 and 1995, meat prices experienced a slight increase from $2.70 to $2.75 per pound. The period from 1990 to 1995 saw gas prices rose marginally from $2.70 to $2.75 per pound. From 1990 to 1995, the price of gas stood at $2.70 initially, before increasing to $2.75 per pound. Tea exports increased markedly from approximately 10% in May to over 20% in August. Between May and August, the proportion of tea exports rose from about 10% to more than 20%. There was a significant increase in tea exports over the period, rising from around 10% to above 20%. Popularity. Toyota was more popular than all other cars. Toyota ranked as the most popular car overall. Toyota the most popular means of transport. This mode of transport attracted the highest number of users. Among all options, Toyota was the most commonly chosen. Passive. This mode of transport was chosen by a higher proportion of males than females. A larger percentage of males selected this vehicle compared with females. Comparison. A greater number of females than males selected Toyota. More women opted for this mode of transport than men. Toyota was more popular among females than males. Males showed less preference for Toyota compared with females. The number of female users exceeded that of male users. Compared with the figure for females, the number of males was considerably higher. The male figure was significantly higher when compared to that of females. There was a notable gap between males and females, with males accounting for the larger share. Approximation. Just over 50% of students preferred online learning. The figure stood at just over 1 million in 2020. 2. Nearly 70% of households had access to the internet. The number of users reached nearly 5 million by the end of the period. 3. About 40% of respondents chose public transport. The population was about 2.5 million in 2015. 4. Around 1/3 of the workforce was employed in the service sector. Sales accounted for around 60% of total revenue. 5. Almost half of the participants were under the age of 30. The figure rose to almost 80% in the final year. 6. Approximately 25% of the budget was allocated to education. The number of visitors stood at approximately 3 million. 7. Just about 90% of the population owned a mobile phone. The figure was just about 1,000 units at the beginning. 8. Very nearly 60% of employees worked full-time. The proportion reached very nearly 2/3 by 2022. 9. More than 75% of respondents supported the proposal. The company employed more than 10,000 workers. Less than 20% of households relied on private transport. The figure remained at less than 5% throughout the period. A. Money, sales, and economy. Sales, income, revenue, turnover. The amount of money earned. Spending, expenditure. Production, manufacture, output. Be produced, be made, be manufactured. B. Number, level, and proportions. Proportion, percentage, rate. The percentage of the figure for levels of unemployment, unemployment rate, poverty rate, level of poverty. The income rate, the income level, the level of income. The revenue level, the level of revenue. The rate of income, the rate of revenue. C. Place and noun phrase. New York City bookstore. A bookstore in New York City. City residents, people living in the city. Urban areas, cities. Rural areas, the countryside. Capital city, the nation's capital. Coastal areas, areas along the coast. Mountain regions, mountainous areas. Industrial zones, industrial areas. Tourist destinations, popular tourist areas. City outskirts, areas on the edge of the city. Downtown area, the central business district. D. Group of people. The elderly, older people, senior citizens. Children, young children, minors. Teenagers, adolescents, young adults, people in their 20s. Middle-aged people, the middle-aged population. The working age population, people of working age. Students, people in education, university students, tertiary students. Graduates, people with a degree. Workers, employed people. The unemployed, people without jobs. Professionals, skilled workers. Transport and travel. Transport, transportation. Public transport, public transportation. Car ownership, the number of cars owned. Traffic volume, traffic levels. The number of passengers, passenger figures. Commuters, people traveling to work. Housing and population. Population, the number of people. Population growth, population increase. Birth rate, the number of births. Death rate, mortality rate. Housing prices, house prices, property prices. Households, families, homes. Education. Education level, level of education. School attendance, school enrollment. University students, tertiary students. Graduates. People who completed higher education. Literacy rate, reading and writing ability. Health, life expectancy, average lifespan, healthcare spending, medical expenditure, mortality rate, death rate. Patients, people receiving medical treatment. Obesity rate, level of obesity. Environment and energy, pollution levels, the level of pollution. Carbon emissions, CO2 emissions. Energy consumption, energy use. Electricity usage, power consumption. Renewable energy, clean energy. Waste production, the amount of waste generated. Industry and work, employment, jobs. Workforce, a working population. Labor force, working age population. Working hours, hours worked. Productivity, output per worker. Technology and media, internet access. Internet availability. Internet users, people using the internet. Mobile phone ownership, mobile phone usage. Social media use, social media engagement. Digital services, online services. Consumer and lifestyle, consumption, consumer spending. Purchasing habits, buying behavior. Leisure activities, free time activities. Tourism, travel industry. Tourist numbers, the number of visitors. Trend, a steady trend, a stable pattern, a sharp change, a dramatic change. An upward trend, a rising trend, a downward trend, a declining trend.